Okay, good morning, everybody. This is our February 17, 2021 Hazard Mitigation Planning Board meeting. I'm going to do the roll call. To my left, I have Director Steve Walker of Emergency Services. To my right, John Dietrich, Department of Public Works and Transportation. On WebEx, we have Ed Hogan with Metcom, Bill Hunt with Lugum, Vince Whittle, who is our private business owner, Mark Stancliffe from IT, and Philip Birch from State Highway. So I ask everybody to make sure that your phones are on mute, that you speak clearly into the mics, whether you're on WebEx or in the room here. And if you're not talking, please be on mute. So with that, we have we have a quorum in attendance. And the second thing on our agenda is the minutes from our last meeting, which was November 18th. Y'all all should have received a copy.
I move we accept the minutes from the November 18th, 2020 meeting as presented.
I'll second.
Okay, I have a first and a second. First by John Dietrich, second by Steve Walker to accept the minutes as presented. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yes.
Any opposed? Okay, the minutes approved. Welcome Mike Wyant, just joined us from WebEx. He is our representative from St. Mary's County Public Schools.
Morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Next on our list is just an update on our hazard mitigation plan. Emergency Services has been working with potential contractors on scheduling and the scope of work. The goal was to start the hazard mitigation update late summer or early fall to meet our requirements that it's FEMA approved by November of 2022. So more will come as we move further into this.
Yeah, I'll do the nuisance flooding plan now, Gerald.
Oh, I'm sorry, I jumped right over that. Yeah, so nuisance flooding plan from the last business meeting. I'm gonna turn it over to John Dietrich.
Thank you very much. Very proud to say that Mike Canova, now retired, his work, the nuisance flooding plan, the draft he put together, which you approved in the November 18th meeting, went to the commission on December 1st and was approved as well. So that's in place. And we're actually working on multiple flooding locations here at DPW&T. Bayside Road, for example, which is our alternative if 243 is flooded out by McIntosh Run. We're doing a study on that to see if there are areas that we could improve so that doesn't flood either. And the state hasn't responded to our request on 243, so Bayside's particularly important. So that's just one example of some of the work we're doing. And I really appreciate all the support I've had from IT and from emergency services in that effort. That's it.
Okay, thank you. Does anybody have any questions on the nuisance flooding plan? If not, next on the agenda is the hazard mitigation plan, which I already did. So we'll go to item number C, which is Tropical Storm Isaias. We received a letter on October 14th from FEMA denying public assistance. There is a couple different types of FEMA reimbursements. So there's FEMA reimbursements for state and local governments and certain types of nonprofit organizations for the cost of disaster-related debris removal, emergency protective measures, and to protect life and property, and permanent repair work to damaged or destroyed infrastructure. There's also hazard mitigation funds for the Emergency Management Agency to be used in future projects for Maryland. Funds will be based on total projects approved. And then third is individual assistance to citizens. We did not meet the requirements for the individual assistance. On October 13th, we worked, Calvert County, Dorchester, and St. Mary's worked with MEMA and submitted an appeal to FEMA. And we received an email on February 4th, 2021, stating the approval appeal for public assistance. Next week, on the 23rd, we're having our FEMA briefing meeting with FEMA and MEMA to include emergency services, METCOM, St. Mary's County Public Schools, and the town of Leonardtown. Emergency Services is working with all county departments for projects for potential reimbursements. The Silver Jackets is putting together an interagency proposal to look at the mitigation flooding at Leonardtown area for St. Mary's County. So they approved the Silver Jackets to move that project forward. Now it needs to go to the Army Corps of Engineers, and that grant proposal is being worked on right now. There's a meeting next Friday with Emergency Services, DP&W, Town of Leonardtown, MEMA, the Silver Jackets, and all that to start redefining our project for submittal to the Army Corps of Engineers. The USGS monitoring site project was approved by the commissioners at the December 15, 2020 for funding for the USGS monitoring site to be put at McIntosh Run at the bridge right by Leonardtown Winery. We asked for the funding for that and all future funding for that project. The USGS is working with MDOT, Maryland Department of Transportation, for their approval to put the sensor equipment on the bridge. We've had some conversation late yesterday that is still in progress. It is moving forward, just slower than we want. We're still scheduled to have that equipment up and operational so emergency services and citizens can subscribe to alerts by the end of March. In the board docs is the letters of appeal and then a declaration that we did receive from the FEMA for public assistance funding. Any question on Tropical Storm Isaias? Okay, next we'll go to the Hazard Mitigation Planning Committee Annual Report. Again, this is in board docs. It's available online. There's quite a bit of information. I'm not going to read it word for word verbatim, but I'm going to go through it really quick. It gives an introduction. It tells you who our current members are and what agency or department they represent. It gives us the list of meetings. It goes into our elections, our bylaws, the hazard mitigation plan. We did put quite a bit of information in this annual report that we presented at this last meeting of the Hazard Mitigation Committee on Isaias in reference to the storm, the flooding, the areas affected, citizens, critical infrastructure, and all those. So that's part of our annual report. One thing that was not in the report that we talked about on November 18th, which we have gotten this information afterwards, but it is part of that report. So, excuse me. The National Weather Service has a rain gauge in the Mechanicsville area, and so they track it, the precipitation. So we got the most current one for 2020, and in Mechanicsville, there was 80.86 inches of rain registered in Mechanicsville in 2020. The next year, second highest year was 2018 with 80.78, so just a hair less. But if you look at the months, the rain was spread out over months versus July in Mechanicsville, they showed 13.95, August 19.55. The normal rainfall in Mechanicsville averages that they have, the means, is 48.24. So not quite double, but again, a lot of rain last year. So in conclusion, the Hazard Mitigation Planning Committee is dedicated to serving the citizens of our community by advising the commissioners of St. Mary's County on all hazards that have or could have impact on St. Mary's County. The state and county restrictions put in place during the coronavirus response has had an impact on our time that was dedicated to hazard mitigation. This past year has been like no other in the past. Emergency service has been activated for COVID-19 response and recovery since February. Just right at 1 year, we've been activated for COVID. With that, we had numerous rain events this summer that caused major flooding throughout the county. The areas and the level of flooding we believe are historical. We're looking at ways to mitigate flooding in the future. This is not one agency or department's responsibility. It's going to take all parties involved to not only come up with solutions, but also to look at past solutions and regulations and ordinance to make sure they're being followed and updated. And we're eager to start this process and continue on in 2021. Any questions on the annual report?
I move to approve the 2020 Hazard Mitigation Planning Board annual report as presented.
And I second that.
So we have a motion by Steve Walker, a second by John Dietrich, to approve the 2020 Hazard Mitigation Planning Board annual report as presented and submit to the commission. Any questions? Any comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? So motion carried. Next on our agenda is Maryland flood awareness. We were contacted back late last year from the Maryland Insurance Administration agency that the state is going to recognize April as Maryland Flood Awareness Month. In our documents here, we have what they're planning on doing. We've been actively in the planning process with MDE and the Maryland Insurance Administration. Our commissioners, we've requested that they do a proclamation. I believe that's going to be the last commissioners meeting in March to do that. But April 1st through the 3rd is going to be preparedness for individuals for the impacts of flooding. April 4th through the 10th is Too Much Rain, Part 1, which is river flooding outside the regulatory floodplain. April 11th through the 17th, here comes the sea, nuisance flooding, storm surge. April 18th through the 24th is Too Much Rain, Part 2, urban and flash flooding, dam breaks. And then April 25th through the 30th is communities preparing for the impacts of flooding. We are talking with MDE and Maryland Insurance Administration to possibly do a virtual event. We're working through that now. And that's all I have for the Flood Awareness Month. Any questions, comments, or concerns? Okay. Does anybody else have anything that they want to bring up? That's the end of our agenda. Okay.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Can we hold that for 1 second? So I just received this. It is being put out through our PIO and hopefully social media and all the outlets. The Maryland Insurance Administration on February 25th from 11 to 2 p.m. is having a Zoom meeting where citizens can go on the Zoom meeting to discuss insurance issues and ask questions get clarifications. There will be different chat rooms for different things, so like motor vehicle insurance for flooding. As we all learned through ESIS, that's been an issue, and it's been an issue with the Maryland Insurance Administration. So there's a lot of opportunities. So that has been requested to be put out through the PIO and all our social media. So if you have time or you want to ask questions, it'd be a great opportunity to do that. I'll accept your motion to adjourn from Steve Walker.
And I second that.
Second from John Dietrich. Any questions on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion adjourned. Thank you, gentlemen, for taking your time and joining us by WebEx. I know we're all busy. We'll see you at the next meeting. Thank you.